Come to order?
6:59.
That's good enough. For government work, right? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, I'm always the bearer of bad news here, it seems. Today, for about 20 minutes, I thought, this is going to be pretty good, and then Jerry called me. Let's do the minutes. We have 2 sets there to approve. Have you all had the opportunity to read them?
Yes.
Okay. Then I need a motion. We'll just do them both at once to accept the minutes from both meetings.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from both meetings.
Need a second?
I second those.
Got it? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, I'll give everybody a chance to speak on each issue. It didn't work very well when we had it at the beginning. Everybody wants to talk on the issue itself, so if you have something, Rick, over there, feel free at the time. I'll give you a chance. Okay, that takes us down to, we need to open a bank account for the American Rescue Plan money, because we're not supposed to commingle it. Right now, it went into our regular savings account, so I want to get it out of there ASAP. So if we approve that, you can do the minutes tonight, and by tomorrow, hopefully open this up, because I have some other. So let's do that. When I need a motion to open a bank account for ARPA. It's the American, COVID, I call it COVID money.
I make a motion to open a bank account for the ARPA funds.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we also, I would like to pay, we can pay for the storm drains. We discussed this at meetings, but we should vote on that as well. And that would include both storm drains. Anything related to storm drains, and I don't know exactly what that comes to. I didn't add that up. Can we
It might
just
be
say?
on there, I'm
Is
not
that the
sure.
one from McCully?
Yeah, that would be 2,500. Lucas Supply would probably, that's $59. The Dixon Precast, so we're up to about over $3,500.
Those bills are in the basket there if anybody wants to look at them.
Okay, and I'm not sure how much of the stone went in there. I know some of this stone. Can we leave it a little bit open-ended here so then you can calculate exactly? Only for storm drains, though. Hey, well, there's Mike. Hey, Mike, maybe you can help us out. We recognize Macaulay can be paid for by COVID. $59 from Lucas, that would be storm drain related, I take it.
Say that again, no?
Here, do you have, I have a handwritten sheet here. I'm trying to figure out what we can pay for out of COVID.
Okay.
How about if we just,
There's right there in the basket.
all right, there's also another one
From
from
last-
before. Let's just leave that open-ended, since I don't know exactly what the total is, but it's over $3,500.
Yeah, 59.21.
So let's just, can we just say, let's pay what we can out of this COVID money?
Yeah.
Because, and
It was all approved to be paid.
yes,
Yeah.
and we were going to use it out of liquid fuels, but COVID is more restricted, and I have some more information on that now. So we know we're safe with these storm drains because it says so.
Yeah.
So let's pay
Well,
for the storm drain stuff.
Anything related to what Kirk McCauley did
Yes.
would be COVID. You could pay it out of the COVID
Yes,
because it's all storm drains.
A lot of this stuff we can. I just don't have the total.
The stone.
Yes, and we have stone there. I think is that from Tim Whetstone Trucking?
Yeah.
So that's $700. I'd still, and I think there was one before. Can we just leave this a little bit open-ended, and Mary Sue can calculate the total, and then I'll give you guys the number when we get it. Are you all comfortable with that?
Does that Jefferson paving go in?
No, that does
Okay.
not.
Then I'm coming up with $4,259.21 if we're doing 1, 2,
Okay, now
3, 5.
I don't want to take the chance of missing something. There was something that we've already paid for out of liquid fuels.
Yes, that was the 2 drop boxes.
Yeah, so that's why under the circumstances, I'd prefer to leave it open-ended if you're comfortable with that. And then the next time, we'll have exactly the number, what we paid, and we'll only pay the storm drain related stuff out of there because I know we can. We're comfortable with that one. So I need a motion to do that. Any comments, Rick? Do you have anything on this?
Well, I'd wait for you to
for visitors, but that's all right.
For what?
When visitors.
I was waiting for the beginning where he usually has visitors and stuff.
I
but
didn't do
I wanna
that
say-
this time.
Mike and Walt, I looked at the drains and they did a real fantastic job. I think they.
Yeah,
took a big
look,
hand
it
for
looks good and they
It
work.
looks good. It looks a lot better when it's gonna work. You know,
Yeah,
it's
they're
gonna work
actually-
a lot better because all that water's not gonna go down past Rudy's and out on Main Street.
These things will be functional as well. I don't know if you had a chance to look on the alleys that he did. Those drains
I
are
looked,
now
I looked at a couple of
functional.
them,
They work, right?
the ones that you put the paving.
The
stuff,
buildings.
You know, and down
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
They actually work now.
it's a big difference than dirt.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
which is
And Paul, while we're on this subject, I'd just like to thank Dave Haggerty for his help and Calvin Glass for his help. They both helped us
Thank you.
2
yes.
days in a row there, and Kirk McCauley really did a nice job with the way he handled everything, and you know Walt, he did real well. It went pretty nice for just.
I can't imagine anybody would have any complaints about it. It seems
Yeah.
pretty darn good to me.
Yeah,
And
and
thank
you
you.
know,
Can't thank you enough.
Walt done a good job too. He kind of coordinated the oiling there till I got there that day, and then him and I worked together.
Okay.
But, I was a little late getting there, and everything went well with the drains and stuff, and hopefully we can get that paved again.
Okay. Did I get the motion that I needed? No, I did not. All right. I need a motion to pay for this stuff.
I'll make a motion that we pay for this, leave it open-ended until
Okay.
we get the final
So yeah, all the storm related
all
stuff.
the storm-related work that was done.
Need a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Okay, now, along these same lines, you know we're able to give money to the fire companies, and the same with, so our volunteer ambulance service visited me today, and they would also like some money from COVID. And I didn't say no to any of this. We can do this. Now, I have some comments on, we thought we could just give this money to a 501c3 and have them buy a furnace for us, for example. I don't think you can do that. They are considered sub-recipients of that. And as far as I understand it, I may very well be wrong on this, they're going to be held to the same restrictions that we are. I don't know that for a fact, but we need to know that before we decide we want a furnace and we're going to give money to Streetscape and they're going to buy us a furnace with it. I'm not sure we can do those things. The ones I think we can do, I think we made a pretty compelling case that we can put dumpsters around due to it. We can clearly link that to COVID. And just for your clarification, the prisoners used to do that. The county had a recycling program. We stopped that 2 years ago. It stopped initially because of COVID, but then there were some other reasons as well. But we can link it to COVID and say we would like to have a cleanup day. That would give us a reason to rent the dumpsters. So I think now we may have to call some people on these in advance. We don't want to get ourselves in a mess where they say this doesn't meet it, you've got to pay it back. But so we can always do that, but I think that one's pretty clear to me that we can make that case. And we can give money to the fire company and to the ambulance service and pay for the storm drains. Beyond that, we were probably stretching when we thought we could do a furnace and a roof or whatever. At least as I understand it, that would take some real creative thinking on our part. So for now, we have time. We're not pressed for anything here. We have 4 years to do this. So I'd rather take my time and be thorough. And along those lines, we initially thought we would meet with the fire company on Wednesday, which is the 4th. Then I asked for an extension because we wanted to continue with the bond stuff. You can't make it, so I'd like to ask for the 18th and keep that tentative as well, where we can meet with Adam and Pat. We're going to fire you. That doesn't work. I would like everyone to be there for that.
Can we just do like a next following Monday or something?
When-
Or
Something on the
Wednesday.
9th, we gotta come in on the 9th or.
this
Is that
Thursday?
Wednesday? I can do
Can-
Thursday.
what-
I can do that Thursday the 19th, I think. Does that work?
I don't have a problem with that.
Sound good to you guys? And for now, let's just keep that tentative, and we will see. And I'd like to, we have to get together a couple times first on these bond claim stuff. I'd like to knock that out. I don't really want to be pressed. You know what I mean? It seems like we're having to hustle enough for everything. And there's no sense of urgency here. They weren't going to get that money till the end of the year anyway. I told them we will give them money, and I think we're willing to stand by that, right? We're all comfortable with that. That's all they need to know, is they will get the money, and they can then, we'll meet when we can meet, when it works. Is we've got a lot on our platter, and as you'll see as I go down through here. Okay, that's probably enough said on the American Rescue Plan money, unless anybody has any other questions or comments on that. We're okay? Move down to the next one.
You did get the money though.
We have the money, yes, for 1 year's worth of money. I think, what did I say that is? $25,696, and there is a typo on the first one we put up, and I can't fix it because you kind of have a photograph of that.
Okay.
So I put a 6, my bad. But the real number is $25,696. All right, so that takes us down to, we need a motion to enter into contracts to clean the office and plow the streets. Walt still wants to fire the furnace. So we'll leave that be, but we always have the option of doing those things. Now, Mary Sue wanted some time. Just because we approve this doesn't mean we have to run right out and hire somebody now. I just want to get this behind us. But we should probably, even if Walt is still interested in firing, we should probably just approve all 3, and then that gives us the option without having to meet here again if he changes his mind. Go ahead.
What do you mean approve all 3?
Well, what I want to do is say that we have the right to enter into contracts to hire somebody to fire the furnace, clean the office, and plow the roads. That doesn't mean we have to do that, but we have the authority. So should Walt change his mind, we can do it, or whatever. And you wanted some time to think about cleaning the office, and we'll deal with that later.
People need to understand, Walt's the only worker now. It used to be one could work outside, one could work inside. He doesn't have any time to do anything in here now.
Right, that's all right. Now, this is kind of our decision to make, and, you know, we've cut everything to the bone that we can. And I think we decided in the long run, these are probably pretty wise ways of going about this. Now, we may have to...
Well, I was just gonna say, we decided we could try to probably contract somebody to plow the roads. Not that we're not gonna do it, but if we have those...
No, we are not going to do it. We wanted to hire... Walt does not want to do that.
So I thought we were gonna still salt, though.
Yes, he may have to salt the roads, but not plow the roads.
Okay.
And plowing takes much longer on the salting, you just go over it one time.
And still gonna use the same guy that we used last year.
I thought so, he did a good job, I don't see why. He was cheap. That's what I thought, that we should talk to that guy. Yeah, I know I was pleased with his work. So somebody will have to contact him, we should do that before winter, give the guy a call, meet with him, see what his terms are. Do you know it?
I don't know his number, but I'll talk to him.
All right, here's one more thing. This is a quick tangent. Back to our website, there is something there with email addresses and addresses of former councilmen. Can you just get that off?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right, so I guess I need a motion to enter into contracts to clean the office, plow the streets, and fire the furnace if needed. All these are if needed. All right.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that takes us down to the mailbox. Everybody knows about the confusion we have here with mail for some reason. And we can't quite understand why we need both why we have a post office box to begin with and not something out here on the street where they deliver.
Bring it right to us.
Yes, because we have trouble getting the mail. And there's been all kind of excuses. You've heard that stuff before.
Yeah.
So, and again, this isn't something we have to do right now. We can phase into that, but I'd just like to make a motion that we put a mailbox out here on Wood Street. Yeah. For some reason, you can't put it on Forest, even though that's the address. I don't know what that's all about, but the library has it back here on Wood Street. So we would have one there.
Our secretary or whoever.
Yes,
leave the office and everything else.
Yes.
So, yeah, if they can bring it to us, that's more feasible.
Any other comments on that? Any discussion needed? All right, then I need a motion to put a mailbox on Wood Street.
I make a motion to put a mailbox on 1 Street.
Need a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we can work out any other stuff later on. We don't have to do all that right now. All right, that takes us down to the to the surprise of the day. There's always a surprise here.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Yes, ruined my day, by the way.
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead,
Got to
Jerry.
talk to the boss. I'm here to plead for return of $1,400. The figures that I have, my wife and I went through line by line. The only thing we found was a discrepancy in one councilman's.
John, we can say his name twice.
Well,
Okay.
it's confidential. Really. Well, it's
We're
not
all right,
really.
not
That's
really.
pu-
We're
that's
okay
public
with that.
record. So we rectified that, and I thought I had everything resolved, and that we had a $741 surplus. And I kept asking Noel, where did that? Why would I have a surplus? Because I should come down to zero. Well, appears that we have $1,400 missing. I have prima facie evidence. Every check that I have done, received from taxpayers, is photocopied, and I have everything.
So you can add yours up, and they're going to come to the total that we sent to Rich Strong, which is how you're paid. You get 5% of that take.
Yeah.
So if these things are wrong, then somebody is being improperly paid
Right.
as well.
So only records I have is her reports.
All right.
And I'm assuming that's what she said. And based on those reports, which I can show everybody, if you doubt anything, you may come to my office and look
I have
at
actually
it.
seen them. All right, so whenever you tally that up,
Yeah.
do you have
I
the
had
reports that she-
$741, and today at 3 o'clock I found out it was wrong.
All right, well, she had to submit a report, just like you do, a monthly
Yes.
report. And
And
so that should jive with, when you add up all these taxes that she
Yes.
received, do they? When you add those two columns, when you add those numbers together?
well, according to the RAC program, they are, except for Councilman
John's,
Shawley's,
That's better to
double
overpay
payment.
than underpay, yeah.
double paid, and then they have never returned that back, the money, the double payment. And
Well, all right, it actually
and
was double.
there was an allegation that there was a residual that Mary Glass gave to Ms. Morrissey, and that was I have 3 emails that says that she did, and I
Well,
talked
we
to
should
her
be able to
at
look at evidence, though.
3:30, and she said, I have a zero balance. I gave nothing to Miss Morrissey. So I really, we would have needed to audit hers first, so that, because she just gave me 13,000 as a pass over to my account from her account, and
Well,
then
some of that we found that includes the 9,000 that she wrote a check that was $9,000 short. We later found that 9,000, is that right, in her drawer back here?
11,000. It was
11
over 11,000.
11,000, that's
Yeah.
right, that's right. So
Yeah.
we gave that
Nud
to you.
found that, or Mr.
Yes.
Huey found
Yes.
that. So
So then that money was given to you.
yes, and it was deposited, and I made a photocopy of every one of those checks except
So
for the
between
cash.
you and your wife, you cannot figure this out, as near as you
Well,
can.
we don't have her figures,
Oh, we can get hers because she had
and I went to the
submit them here.
bank today to get an audit trail of her account, and it's closed and it's confidential until Noel gives permission to get that audit trail to see what she
Do we
paid.
we gave this stuff to Rich Strong. Are there any copies of what we gave to Rich?
Why would it be confidential? Taxes are open to anybody. to see.
No, her bank account.
The bank
bank
account,
account.
yeah, that account was closed, and Jerry opened a brand new account to try to avoid
Yes.
what's happening now.
Yeah.
But it didn't avoid any of the trouble, so,
I was confident that we had a surplus of $741.58. I mean, my wife and I looked at it
I-
from her.
I-
It's only based on her reports.
Right, I have another suggestion here. Now, this has to be more than a suggestion. I've been squawking all along that this stuff should be done electronically.
Yeah.
If that were done electronically, it could not happen. It won't let you send money that you do not have.
Yep.
I think since we appointed Jerry, this is our tax collector, we should insist that both the county and the school district accept this money electronically. No more checks from us. If they want checks, then they can assume, this has happened before. I understand this has happened even when Mary was tax collector with the school district.
Yeah.
We have bounced checks. Now, the bank's been real good. I'm pretty sure you can go down there and talk to them, and they will take away these fines. They understand, at least they have in the past.
Well, I don't know whether they'll do that, but I need to. If you do not vote to give me back $1,400, I have to take out of my savings account.
Right, that wouldn't be proper.
Because every day it's $37.
That part I never heard before. I don't understand that.
Until
I
it's
thought only
taken-
when you bounced a check. I don't know what's going on there. I don't understand that.
Is the account in the negative? Is that what it is? Like it's an
No, I have a balance of $542 and some cents. I'm sorry, I don't have the figures with me,
That's
but I
close
know
enough, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's
understand
five-
the daily fine then either.
No, I've never heard that before.
well, because the check is still there. That's not satisfied. And they are going to assess. They've already assessed 3 times, and I didn't know it
Who,
until
bank? You're
today.
talking about the bank?
I got
This
my
is,
mail today at 3 o'clock, and
See,
I said,
it used
"What
to
is
be
this?"
They charged you for every time they ran it through, and my fault with them would if you bounce it once, they'll put it through a second time again.
no, as long as it's not satisfied, they will assess me $37 a day until it's satisfied.
Well, you also, now what else is out of balance?
And
Have
I
we
have to
been
pay that.
overpaid? Has the borough been overpaid by $1,400?
No, no.
Alright, so you're
What I
asking us
have
to lend,
that
We want
that
that money back.
subtracted one payment of Mr. Shawley's,
right, that I
and
get all
then
that.
I gave you a transfer, so it came out of the account okay, and
But I mean, now when you redo this, what were we actually supposed to receive? Were we to get that much? Somebody's getting shortchanged here, and I'm not sure who, if it's us or the county.
well,
Wouldn't be the
I
school
need to
district.
go back through all Noel's
But you went through
records.
that once, and you emailed all that stuff to
Only
me, and I
the
looked
I
through
took
that.
the rack programs like you do month by month by
Yes,
month.
I saw that.
And then we went through each one of them, and we assessed what.
All right, how do we get our money back if we give you $1,400?
Well, I got to find where it is, and then I have to give it back, unless you want me to get it out of my savings.
I don't think that would be proper for you to have
Yeah.
to take it out of your personal account.
Do you think you better have somebody come in and go over, an outside person, go over Noel's and follow into Jerry's?
This stuff shouldn't be that hard, should it?
It
I
shouldn't
mean,
be,
you're
but you
just
should
getting
see.
every
If you
single-
want to see the records, it's
Well, I saw
really
you-
convoluted.
But you sent me that, and I looked through and I saw John's was paid twice.
Yeah.
And if you went through and you added all that up,
It should be
everything that you
right,
took
and that
in-
I shouldn't have any problem.
No,
What does
so that-
convoluted mean?
Excuse?
What does convoluted mean?
There's so many different
It-
records.
it's
That
just
how do
too
you put them all
complicated.
together? There are multiple worksheets.
Well,
with-
anyway, but still, it's still this simple. You have a list of everybody that paid their taxes. John paid twice. So you add that up. It was paid, so you would add everything up and come to a total.
Yeah, I get
All right,
beautiful reports.
Okay, then, so that total should then equal the amount of money that she collected
Mhm.
totally, which some she gave to you and some she gave to us. So we added those two things up. I mean, it doesn't seem like you should need a CPA to figure this out.
All I need is her audit trail to see what she deposited and what she spent. I don't have that. I have reports And those reports
So
match
you want a
up.
deposit slip to see what she actually deposited. She should, right, you get, when you go there and you put that in, you get a deposit slip, right?
Yes.
Or
You can see mine. I should have brought it along.
it should,
And you can see what I deposited, what I
yeah, you
wrote
should,
out.
and they're saying they won't give the deposit slip to Jerry because that account has been closed and Noel was the tax collector.
Yes.
So she needs to get
Was that
that.
like her personal account? Did she put
No,
that in?
No,
Or
no.
was that
it's a
just an
tax-
I think
account?
we
was-
should be able to get that.
I don't see how you can't
Yes,
open
right.
it then, or like
With-
Would the council have access to that account? Or
look at
information
it.
from
If
that
it was
account?
a,
I would think that we would. That would be
I don't
my guess,
understand
but
it.
I've
Even
never
if
been
she
here
after she
before.
closed it, there has to be a trail of it.
Right, it's, there
Yes,
is, the
you're
bank
right.
won't surrender.
Right?
But they
the
won't
slip.
show
They won't give
me
it to him.
because it's not my account.
But even if she closed it out as a tax person, like it's not her personal, so I don't understand why
We can.
one of us cannot look at
Well,
that
one of
account.
us maybe can.
Yeah, you as officials can do it.
Yeah, if somebody,
I
so
can't.
does
I'm just an
somebody,
employee of yours.
does somebody wanna go down there as counselor and, or you as
I can
treasurer?
call Tyler.
Tyler,
in
do you wanna
the
do
morning
that? And
and see what he says. If he wants somebody to go down, then
we,
And the only thing is, like, once
but
that
there's
happens,
still,
well, we don't want him to keep getting charged $37
no,
a day
no,
though,
that,
too.
I don't
That's the
understand
trap.
that, to be honest with you.
But if he needs,
Uh,
well, I'm sure it's somewhere
we can
Well,
request.
we
You
give
have
them
to
a lot
find
of-
it, right? I mean,
Yeah,
with the deposit,
What's gonna
so,
happen to this 1,400? It's just gonna go into that account
and
that's it, you're
pay
not,
and pay the county.
I don't, but then they're paid and we're not.
That's right. But I thought I had a surplus, and Noel said it was because she received $800 prior to her taking the position. That from just like she gave me what her residual was in her.
Right, she's saying that, and Mary is denying that there was any.
She says that her account was zero, and that's what mine should have been. And I've been
Yes.
working on this for the
Yes.
last 3 weeks. That back and forth, back and forth. Why do I have $741.58 over? I should be zero, and it's not.
Well, you've been dealt a bad hand, I'll say that. You inherited a mess. I wouldn't have wanted to take something over where the person before me bounced a check for
he has more patience than I do.
$9,000.
Well, that's what I did. I
You
paid.
think she
I
did a
paid.
great job, right?
I paid the
She did
23,000.
such a great job.
I paid her the one that was outstanding for 23,000, and I paid the 2,300. And when I looked at the online banking, I saw that they had cashed the 2,300, thinking that was my 2,000 and some. I just didn't look at it close enough.
Okay,
I
so
have
here's,
Mary's papers
all
here
right,
too.
all right, and we gave a lot of that stuff to Rich.
Yeah, but
You
I
can
don't.
get
I
that.
do not recall Mary. I recall her having the zero balance when I looked at it.
Well,
But we'll,
there were lots of problems with Noel. We all know that.
Well, but going by her reports, it's right. But what did she have in her bank account is what I don't
I don't know. I don't understand.
And I
Shortfalls.
I sent an email which I copied
Yeah,
all
I
of
saw
you.
that.
Was the
I sent an email to Mrs. Fox I want an audit trail from them of what they received.
Now, who is Mrs. Fox? Because I was
Right.
wondering.
She
that.
is the
Okay.
county treasurer.
Okay.
And if we don't rectify this, the solicitors will be involved. And they will demand an audit of what's going on.
Well, you might be able to figure it out.
Well, my only problem is giving the county $1,400 that is ours. Then we're screwed out of 14, and we're in
Well,
worse shape than they are.
I've
But
asked
I'm
for their indulgence on it, so they might in the next
Yeah, I
couple of days.
think
But they're
maybe
not
they
going to
should-
wait a month.
Well, no, but I'm saying maybe they should be the ones to put up the money rather than the borough.
If you want, I'll take it out of my savings and.
Well, I don't want that. No, I'm just saying the borough. I'm not sure we can take it out of ours to give to the county.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Well, that's the check that's outstanding.
Right, I'm saying I don't know if they got too much.
If I don't, yeah,
I get it. I just don't understand.
but it's the system. I can give you month by
Well,
month.
I think my solution is they
reports.
get less money. But they get, whatever you gave them, you take off 1,400, write them a check for that amount, they get less, not us. Unless we got something we're not entitled to. We didn't get 1,400 too much, did
Their
we?
solicitor would really balk at that.
Well, all right, is that bad if he does?
I
It's a
don't
woman.
like to say
It's
what
what?
somebody
It's a
else is
woman.
gonna do.
Okay, if she does, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah. Is it
Let me
Heather?
start
Heather?
tomorrow by calling the bank. You can go on and on about this all night, but you gotta
Yeah.
have a starting
Well, I
point.
know, but he needs some resolution.
Yeah,
right?
well, I'm gonna tell
All right, how
Tyler,
about, can we do that?
Try
If
to
they
get-
could suspend it for
All right,
yeah,
instead of
the $37 a day.
All
I
right.
think we need to request that.
Did anybody
Don't
go
do
to
that.
Noel's?
and I'm gonna ask.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry,
he did.
Mr. Nardelli. Go ahead, Mr. Nardelli.
Did anyone go over Noel's books before they was handed over to Mr. Spade to balance them out and see what they come out
Jerry
at?
went over them himself. He went over them himself, I believe,
And what'd you
right?
come up with?
I went over
That's
the
what I'm saying.
rack.
Yeah,
Yeah, it all balances out theoretically
So
by
it was
the
all balanced out when you got it,
no. I went by the rack program,
whatever.
and
I
the
don't know
rack
what the rack
program gives you reports.
it's just the tax collector's software, it's all it is, where she has to enter, she got money from you, she enters your
That's
name
it.
and how much.
But
she
I
got.
had no proof
When,
of the.
when you got it, Noel's books, before you got them, they was going over and checked and you had a number to start with at that point.
I had her reports, which I have only. The county only gave me 1 month, May, to show me what she had done. They didn't give me everything that she did.
So
And
then her books, before you took it over, it wasn't really balanced out.
no.
So why was
She
that?
gave me $13,558, and I've deposited it. It's in my records, but I have nothing to back up what she gave me.
That's it. I mean,
If she would have given me all of her statements, I could have ferreted through those and seen what she. I still don't have that.
That's what I'm kind of asking. If somebody,
It's a good question. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
if somebody or one or two people or three people or how many was sat down and said, okay, checked everything off, made sure everything was right, or find out the mistakes, and then handed the books over to you and say, here, you're in charge from here on out.
Yep.
Don't sound like that was done.
I requested, but the council at that time didn't want to do that because of the expense.
Why didn't the council want to do that?
That's an
Money,
expense.
money.
Yeah, I understood that, and
Why
I took.
couldn't a couple council members sat down here and went through all that, checked them themselves?
It's just.
It
you
was
have to-
already,
someone
it's
screwed up
already in
here.
the middle.
On the transfer. Well, I'm saying, someone screwed up on the transfer.
Well, we'll find out. It'll come out in the
Yeah.
end.
It should have never worked that way. When he got control of everything should have been right on the
Well,
money.
they did the best they could. They closed out an entire bank account and started over from zero. And then they gave him the 11,000 that was found here, and we had all the records. It's basic math. It's just adding all the stuff up, all the
Basic
columns.
common sense.
No, it's
Everything
it's
that was
basic
in
math,
Noel's-
not common sense. It's math.
That's numbers.
Yeah, everything that was in Noel's pouch.
Common sense.
I have
knows everything.
photocopies of all of it. So if you don't believe anything I have it, and you're welcome.
Well,
I
I
have a
think
nice
we can-
table. You can come down and look it all over.
No, I think we should be able to figure this out. Just,
Yeah.
it's mostly addition.
Yeah, there's
So it is,
$1,400
you add all this up.
Actually,
And the computer does all that for you. It adds it all up.
Actually, there's more because, and I'll pay the penalties. But there's $70 for opening up the new account. That's in there, and $6 for 3 checks. They
Why
charge.
would there be $70 to open an account?
That's what they charge for the checks and for the stamper and all that.
Yeah, and he pays that $70.
I'd be looking for another bank.
You gotta have that stuff.
That's how they did it.
You gotta have.
I actually got a discount
So that
of $50 to
The stamp
$55.
Yeah, but I'm still. I mean, I'd
Well,
be
that's
checking
why-
another bank, see what they're, how their processes are. That,
All right.
you know, all these extra charges might not be in there.
Mary, so let's hold off on this. I don't think there's anything else that we can do right now. I don't know what else we can do with this other than wait till you're going to contact the bank in the morning. Then we'll have to go through the books. I don't know
Might
what
be
else.
better
to do.
just to go to the bank though.
What's that?
Might be better just to go to the
Well, I'll
bank.
call him first,
Make an
Try to get
appointment or
this
whatever.
deal.
and he needs to,
Didn't they go over the number?
if I have to write a letter, they need to stop
It's a whole
$37 a
software
day.
program.
That's just
I know,
get
but
the
we're talking money
accounts.
going into an account, and I should the bank be able to.
They will be able to
You just
have a
need all
record of
the
all that,
statements.
yes.
Would the statements help? If I
Well,
go to the bank.
I was hoping they'd give you an audit trail, but all they want to do is give you statements,
Okay.
and that's
Would
it.
that help or?
Oh,
Well,
definitely.
the statements will show every deposit that was made.
From
and every
January
withdrawal. Yeah,
to
so we can figure that out right from the statements, and that should match the books
Yeah.
Of the RAC program.
But she
It
said
just-
there was money in the safe, and I asked her, "Where's the safe?" I mean, what? And that was the
What's
that a filing cabinet was supposed to be locked. I don't think Mr. Hui,
Well, here's what I
unlock
know.
the door,
No,
you know,
I
but it was
there
not
the first
safe.
time he opened that, and there was no lock on that. And he
well,
found
she
the
said
money.
it
and
was there
those
was
big
money
old
in the
checks.
safe, and I
It was just a box, wasn't it?
She
Just a
should
little
have
metal box.
deposited all that.
yeah.
You should, like you said, Jerry, you should have had a zero balance to start with.
Right,
She
but
should have
that's,
never, she should have never handed him any
I
money.
know, that's one of the, yeah, it is,
Doesn't it-
what can we do about it? We didn't hire her, did you know what I mean? We had to fire her,
Give them money.
and this is what we found when that happened. She bounced a check, then the deficit was $9,000.
I just need more evidence of that, and those statements will be great.
All right, well,
Hey,
let's do that.
Somehow
Let's
I've
get
got
the
to get this
statements.
suspended, or if you can't, if the council will not agree to
That's a
lend
tough
me
one.
$1,400 back, I'll have to take it on my savings.
That's the part I don't understand. I don't think I'd do anything. The
Yeah.
county just doesn't get their money right now.
Well, I don't know how
Would the
patient
14
they
ever come
would.
back to us?
I'll call Carol
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah, definitely it has
But
to
we'd have to
be.
wait for it to be figured out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll talk to her tomorrow.
I mean it shouldn't take that long. If you get me the statements, we'll be able to track all the money, and then if there's money missing, it's
Well,
either
that's another story,
it's
yeah.
either someplace here in the Borough building or in the records that you handed me.
Let me check the drawers there.
Check the drawer. I don't know.
That's not funny.
Yeah, we meet next
It-
Monday.
it- my-
He
my-
feels a sense of
And
urgency.
another worry is, I don't know if the RAC program has everybody that paid. And I want to speak to, as
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I want to privately speak to a couple people and find out if they paid. If they paid, they're not marked paid. And that's even more money that's not in the till, you know.
So the upshot is whenever these jobs change hands, it needs to be audited before the next person gets it.
True.
Learn that.
Exactly.
I took a chance and I did it.
And
Well, we
Be
did
careful.
too. I
be
mean,
careful saying how good job she did, memory center did that. We weren't
Well-
lying to you, we knew stuff was going on.
Well, it looks good, but there's so many different types of reports. In fact, Mr. Hui will verify on the top of the filing cabinet it said these need to be posted. And that whole stack of people that paid taxes, this little post-it note underneath said this needed to be posted. She stated that they were all posted after the fact, so I don't know. If there are taxpayers that paid and they get a notice that their taxes were not paid, they need to come to me right away, and I'll get that absolved with the county, that it was not their fault. That's what I stated that before when I came with my report. If you trust the RAC program, if there
it's
were
only as good as what she enters. If she puts bad information in, you're going to get bad information
Yeah.
out. Well,
that,
from what I saw, what I read,
Yeah,
it looked
well,
pretty good.
Yeah, everybody, the paid should have a canceled check and
that's right,
their taxes should be marked paid.
yes.
I mean, that's number one. I mean, if my apartment taxes come back not paid, I have my canceled check from my checking account and I have the receipt where she marked it paid.
Yeah,
And I paid it in person.
that's what I'm
But I'm
saying.
just saying, I
If
haven't had no problems, but that's how.
if anybody gets a notice next year that they didn't pay their taxes, come to me right away. I'll rectify that because I'm only trusting the RAC program as far as what I can see. I mean, I haven't changed anything. I keep 3 backups of this work because if anything goes wrong, and I have 2 computers holding all of it. I mean, and I have an A, B, C backup stick.
Well, we won't know until we see the deposit slips, and then even there, that just shows you a gross sum. We'd have to see everybody that paid and add them up and see if it matches the
Well, there's a
deposit slips.
record that she has of everybody that paid.
I
and
saw
checked.
that. I saw that. I went through that.
For the apartments, it was cash. So.
Yeah. So that's
Well,
all I'm saying is I'm short $1,400.
Surely nobody paid cash.
I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to do
I
about
pay mine
that.
with check. I usually pay
I
mine a
just
couple
say,
days after I get it.
if you can get to the bank
I don't
tomorrow,
get
or make an appointment or something, and then you can email us what's going on and what we need to do, and just go from there, right? I mean, I don't know what else to do.
Are you still gonna call Tyler?
I'll call him in
You
the
call
morning,
him and then you let me
you get
know
to be
and
the
then
one that goes
I'll go
down.
down and take care of.
And I'll call Carol Fox also.
But I am culpable that I did not see the one clear, and that's the problem. But it was done. Actually, I paid it before the 23,000. So, and it cleared. The 23,000's cleared. The 2,300 cleared. The inter-office transfer
Well,
cleared,
they're gonna-
and I
I
had
brought
700 and
this up.
some.
Should we insist that
Oh,
both
thank
the
you.
county and the school district accept these payments electronically in the
Thank you.
future?
That's up to you. You're the boss. I'm just
I
an
mean, you can't
employee.
bounce checks that way. That wouldn't happen to us if we did
Saves a lot
that.
of trouble.
Yeah, then we'd just be looking at the shortage, which we'd be trying to locate a shortage.
But I don't understand why that. She gave me notice that she received my June
Well, I know,
report
but there had to be
and
some.
said that it cleared. So then
Well,
all of a
still,
sudden now,
your deposits
2 weeks
still
later,
didn't
I'm
match what you sent out. You know, so you were looking at just the computer screen when there was some stuff that didn't show up there yet.
right.
So that's why I'm saying, in the old days, you used to keep this check registry.
Well,
Nobody does anymore.
I just
They
got
look at
that
the screen.
yesterday. The check register just came in the checks, so I'm able to do
Well,
that.
so it could have been, some of it had to be a computational error. You know, you didn't have as much in the account as you paid out.
Yeah.
So again, I think unless there's something obvious that I'm missing here, I would pay everybody electronically, and that would at least prevent this kind of problem.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Am I missing something about this? All right, then, I would need a motion that the county and the school district, from this point on, accept their payments electronically.
Well, that's.
So you want a letter saying?
No,
You
it's not-
better
well-
consult with the
Well, I was
school.
gonna say, we have to consult with the school, don't we, on.
It's
what
our
they can
tax
do.
collector. Whoa. We're the ones now, look, he's coming to us for money here.
No, but I'm trying to think how that we could do this, because I feel like that's,
Well, my feeling is, well, that's just too bad. If you want it another way, you
We
know.
can write a
you-
letter requesting that they do that.
I
see
think-
what happens.
yeah, I think we're gonna have to write a letter first before we can request what we want.
I
Well,
that should
whose
be
decision is it? Is it ours or is it
Because
theirs?
they can deny it, I mean, they can literally just still write checks and they can just avoid
No,
what
I
we
don't
want
care what
though.
they want. They can write any check they want. That's not our problem. My concern is when he writes a check and it bounces. If you do it electronically, that can't happen to you. You cannot bounce a check when you're paying electronically. So I'm saying, once they get the money, they can write all the checks they want. That's their business. But when we give it to them, I see this as our business. They're only going to get it electronically, and that's the way it is. We just made that rule. What are they gonna do about it?
Now with, like, the sum of money that comes out of our account into their account.
Because out of his account, not ours.
Yeah, well, I know, like, personally, like, if I was going to make a large purchase and it was like over $5,000, I'd have to clear that with my bank, and then, like, I don't know how that works with the large, you got any
Well-
issues with large amounts of money being transferred.
It only goes one way. He can
Yeah.
only deposit, all you can do is deposit money into somebody else's account. There's 3 accounts he can put money into: ours, the county's, and the school district.
Yeah.
And that's all. He, for the most part, then you wouldn't be writing any other checks or doing anything else. That's
I
the
was
big
just a
sum
little
of money.
premature, and I wish I would have taken your advice and hold it for a
A
while.
little bit.
Till,
Well, it was just, to me, it was just a kind of a bookkeeping error. You wrote a check for more than you had in there. And I can see, in today's world, I can see
That's
how
my
that would
error. I
happen.
did make an error.
Now, Jerry, do you know if those checks are 2 signatures that come from the school district
No,
and
nothing
stuff?
comes from them. It's what he pays. He collects all the money from
I don't
the
need
people.
2 signatures. I just
He
give
sends
you out,
it. So it's
out of my
only
account.
him, nobody
So
else.
I wonder what the records are that they need that paper check. Or
Well,
what
I
the
don't know
reason
you like.
is.
Here's how this works. You pay your taxes to Jerry, right? We
Yes.
all pay our taxes to Jerry. He then takes that money. At the beginning, it's just the county and the school district. Early in the year, you send a check to the county. You send a check to us. Now, what's coming up now is the school district. Just the school district. So all the money he collects will go to the school district.
Every 2 weeks.
And so in all these cases, I want him to send the money to them electronically rather than writing out a check.
But
You can't
I know, I
bounce it.
understand that, but that's what I'm wondering, why they need the paper check. Like,
I
is there
asked
for
Jeff
the
about that.
records?
Well, there's a
When they say-
trail.
He said, to sum the whole conversation up, he said that it's better for the state auditors to use a paper trail.
Paper trail.
Yeah, I'm only telling you what he said to me, and we discussed it, but that was the.
So
I-
you
sum of the
print it
conversation.
right off of your
I
computer.
have
It's right there.
receipts from taking out of my account and then going into your account. I have 2 receipts.
Yeah,
So if
we
you
can
want
see it.
copies of those,
Well,
I
we
will
can
send
see
those
it where
to
it
you.
appears in our account. There's plenty of trail. Just print it out.
Yeah.
You just don't have a physical check is the only thing. I mean,
Yeah.
unless there's something that we're missing that's really obvious, to write out checks makes no sense in today's world. To me, it doesn't see. It's not as safe. The more people that handle it, then you can have computational errors where the computer won't make those mistakes. It wouldn't have allowed you to do this.
Mrs. Glass said that I could serve a letter to the bank. We might want to bring this up to them. That if there is a check, that you don't send it back through the second time, which gives you another.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that. They know if it bounced once, it's going to bounce again, but that way they run up the fees on you. I'm kind of with them. I don't like that a little bit.
According to
They'll let you out of this, most likely.
Mrs. Glass stated that you can sign a request to stop that if it bounces.
Well, again, my solution, you wouldn't need that.
But
if
it
you
took-
do it
it took-
electronically, there is
It
that
took
problem.
several days before I got a notice. Several days.
And they're charging us $37 each
Well,
day.
what
before they
happened
give you
there-
the notice.
There was a check that you wrote outstanding and forgot about, right? And you wrote another one thinking you had more money.
That's
in there
why I
than you
transferred it.
did.
I thought I had a balance of 700, and I was working to figure out why do I have $741.58 or something. I don't know what the cents was. Why did I have that? And I have all the emails to Noelle on that, and she told me that Mary Glass gave her, when she started, a transfer of $800.
Here's something we can do. If you're not comfortable doing this electronically, we can call those places and we can call the school district and the county and say, we are most comfortable sending this electronically. That way you cannot bounce checks. I'll call Jeff if need be. I'll talk.
It's immediately in your account,
Yes,
and
and
it's
there's
out
a
of mind.
trail, and it's safe for others.
Yeah, and this would not have happened to me if I.
No, and that's been my point all along. You can't bounce checks if you do it electronically, and that's what I said we should be doing.
And you can fire me. It was
No,
my error if you
No.
wanted to.
No, you were dealt a rough hand
Well,
here. We
that's the
thought
thing.
we dealt with it.
We knew it was gonna be rough probably at the beginning, but not this rough.
No, we
I
assumed-
mean,
we
that's a
thought
lot of
we-
research that you've already
Right,
done, and I
I thought we
appreciate
took
that.
reasonable
Thank you.
precautions.
You know?
You opened a new checking account, closed that one,
Yeah.
got the money that she gave you.
I blindly took what she gave me.
So what
I
you're
did
saying-
not go back and ferret through. How did she arrive at that? So it's not
Well, I
audited.
thought you did because you sent me that stuff. and
Well, I
looked
went by
through
her
and we
reports and the rack program. That's the only way you can do it.
found- Well,
I think we should just still write a letter
You can
requesting
talk
what
to
we
them.
need to,
We're
what
gonna
we
do
want
that.
to do.
let's
And
give them
then-
a call.
Yeah.
A letter, I don't care.
A letter or call or something and just tell them what our, and if they have any problems, they need to come to us or some sort of thing.
There's
I don't
nothing
know.
wrong with calling first, but what I'm saying is, you really should, after that, tell them there'll be a letter coming to formally request it.
All right. You can do those things.
I got a full day tomorrow. The school taxes, I can tell
Yeah,
you,
they're
are
ready to go
here.
out, Yes.
I just got them at
I don't,
when was I talking to you?
What's
At
that?
3:30, I think it was.
yeah.
Should we wait to pay the fines before, until we talk to the bank? I wouldn't pay the $37.
No,
until we
Yeah,
talk to them,
especially, and you
because
said you had to
we can
wait
probably get
seven,
all of
or
that.
you waited, or they waited 7 days before even giving you a letter?
No,
There
I
was
don't know how many. It was several days though.
Oh, okay.
You can see when it was returned on my audit trail.
Okay.
I have an audit trail.
Alright, now I get that,
So
okay.
she's gonna call the bank tomorrow. I'll go down to the bank and see what we can get. We can talk to them about getting the fine suspended, and then I'll contact you tomorrow and let you know
Okay.
if they're gonna do all that.
And if-
what
and
I
it-
can get you and
So, because that'll be a continuous.
yeah.
If you don't want to do it, I've got to get 14 out of my savings account and pay it, so that part is clean until I can find out where it is, and then the money will be returned to me.
Well, if they suspend the fines, then
I still need the
That he still needs that
Yeah.
1,500.
yeah.
There's $6 that I'm going to pass on to the borough, and $70 for the startup kit for the account. And you can talk to
You're talking about the rack program, is that what you're talking about?
no. I already have that for
But
the
what's the
school
startup fees that you're talking
for the
about?
checking account. It
Yeah,
was $70. I didn't get it approved, so if you don't want to approve that, I'll have to pay it. But was taken out of the account.
I think that something really needs to be written up
Oh, I do too.
about what you're going to pay your tax collector and
Right.
what they have to pay.
It's not only us though, it's the school district
No, I don't
and
mean
the
that.
county.
I
We
mean
all
just
have to
between
pay
a
stuff.
tax collector and this
Right.
council. You need to get it down just like, almost like a personnel
Well, I know,
thing, you know?
but what I'm saying, that
I
stuff
gave a
should be
proposal in the
split
beginning
three
of what-
ways. Like you have bonds, you have to buy envelopes, and stamps, and,
Yep.
and other things. Who is paying for it? It shouldn't all fall onto the borough.
Well, the school had to pay. I can be up front with you. I just while we were talking on the phone, and Jeff came in, and you said hello to him. I handed him a bill for $280 some for stamps and envelopes, and I printed the envelopes myself. So
Now that's just for what the school tax is coming on.
Yep.
Yes.
then we mailed out, hopefully tomorrow. I'm late. The county just gave them to me today.
Right,
They're
right.
supposed to be out before August 1st, so they were late.
Well,
Last year there were 2 weeks.
all right, so there's still,
You might see a lot of that.
if I understand it, sorry, you made a computational error, but there is still $1,400 unaccounted
Missing.
for.
Missing. I can account for my stuff. I cannot account for Miss Morrissey's. She says it's right, and then she gave me all the money. However, if there's stuff still in files and I didn't see, I'm gonna be going through all those files that were
Well,
boxed
again,
up
those,
and given
all
to me.
those numbers should add up. It should be a matter of adding up the column of money received and then
Yep.
tallying up.
All her reports and the RAC program reports, ferreted out, it was right to the penny. When her reports and my reports that I have to give to you, I have to show you
Right, and you
how
gave us
many
stuff
people paid and when they
you
paid.
went over hers and we didn't. That's where you found John Shawley paid twice.
That's right. I did it first, and then my wife went through, and we both
And
verified.
then when you would tally up the number, the actual cash that you received, it should have equaled that number.
That I don't have record of. That's what I'm saying. I need the
Yeah, and
the
that should be
statements.
easy enough. The statements will show that.
Yeah, it will show what she got and what she deposited.
Well, let's wait till we get those statements and shall we, I don't know, table it and wait until Monday and revisit this issue when we're gonna be meeting again in a week. I don't know where that leaves Jerry in a bad spot though. If he feels he needs 1,400, I say the county's just gonna have to do without. They don't get anything now. The check bounced, they got nothing.
No,
So they would have
I
to get a
could
check
send them
for a lesser amount.
$542, but that
Well,
would
there
be,
has to be the money that bounced, that all comes back to you, right? That whole sum that bounced. They didn't get any of that, right?
no, it
because
didn't.
it
Nothing
checked.
was taken out either.
Yeah, so I mean, that'll all be back in your account.
I was shy 1,300 and $8.25, I think it was, when that check hit.
All right, let's revisit this on Monday once we get these bank statements.
Thank you for the privilege to serve you an issue.
I need a motion to table this.
I make a motion to table this till Monday's meeting.
Need a second?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Any
Who
opposed?
Who said aye, Kevin or something?
Aye.
Everybody.
Well, I didn't mean
I
that.
second it.
Well, now I'm all worn out.
And lost a tooth.
Yeah. All right, I'll get down to try to give you a bookkeeping update. There's stuff here, usually council's up to date at this point, but since I met with the accountant on Friday, I haven't had the opportunity to update you. I thought that went really well. I spoke with Rich. He's already gone back in time, say with Walt. Walt is current. So before you can get accurate numbers for us, you have to do the past. So he has Walt up to date, and the other employees, I know they are, at the very least, they're up to date to the second quarter because he had to file stuff with the IRS. So this transition's coming along nicely. So in the course of the conversation, he thought he would have the transition would be completed by the end of this month. And I'm always a little more skeptical. I said, well, look, we have to start doing our budget in about October. Will we have good numbers by October? And he said, well, you should. He said, unless something really unforeseen happens, something that I don't see. And I said, oh, that'll happen. So I said, you can count on that. That will happen. Before I got out of the office, and I knew this before, I had to give him passwords so that he could get on to the state and the federal government and Social Security, all those payroll taxes that have to be paid. Well, there was one, I did not give him something called EFTPS. It's where you file with the federal government because there's a PIN involved, and at the time, I did not have that. I said, oh boy, this is going to cause me trouble. Now, I failed to look for that. I gave him everything, so when I was leaving, he said, oh, Paul, you failed to give me EFTPS. And I said, I know. And he said, I also need you pay unemployment compensation to 2 different sources. I don't know why it's like this. You pay the employees' portion goes to one site, and then you get on PSAB for the borough's portion. So I came up here to the office, and I thought, this is going to be another SAM number. I knew how this was going to play out. Amazingly, within 10 minutes, I found that PIN number. So, whoa, that rarely happens here. So I called him up. I got other numbers. I had to call Catherine to get numbers for the unemployment sites and Keystone and all of that stuff. Well, lo and behold, they all work but one, PSAB. So for some reason, we have passwords, we have everything we need, and they do not work. So I don't know what that means, if we have to call them and see if they can start over with us. I don't know. But Rich needs that, so to make a long story short, he could not file our portion of unemployment compensation with PSAB, and I don't know why we go through them. I don't know any of that, but we need to solve that. But beyond that, I was pleased, that he's moving fast, but based on our experience, there will be unpleasant surprises. So I'm just hoping that we can have good numbers. He's coming along real well. Payroll's the hard stuff, and the fact that he's all done with Walt, we can see what Walt made year to date, for example, and then it comes down to Andrew. They left in April, and I know he figured out to the second quarter, because he's paid all that. I don't know if he's gone all the way back, but he feels pretty confident that he will. So I was pleasantly surprised there. And that takes us down, I mentioned to tax problem update. I spoke with Catherine. I remember the last time I mentioned it, there's all kind of correspondence back there from Catherine, and many of you have seen some of that stuff as well. And my conclusion, I said this to Catherine. I said, Catherine, it appears to me that if the borough would have just done what you instructed them to do, we wouldn't be in this mess right now. And she said, Paul, that's right. So we wouldn't be in this mess. And here's what Catherine did. She went all the way back to 2015. She set up these spreadsheets for every single employee. And she showed what their gross wages were, what was taken out for Social Security, income tax, state income tax, unemployment, all of that stuff. She tallied that all. And you and I, well, all of us, we went through some of those things. Well, she also then sent the quarterly report here. And in those reports, all it said, she had it in red, sign here. She paid electronically. Much of the stuff has been paid. So all you had to do was file the forms. Just file the forms. Now, when we were doing stuff with 2016, I was looking through these numbers, and I said, these numbers are right. Everything's been filed except the third and fourth quarter for 2016. So I asked her, I said, will you duplicate this? Will you send us that information? She can't send it in because she's not the treasurer, so you will get it. You will have to sign it and send it to the IRS. And I'm hoping for that. I don't even like to be optimistic here at all, but I'm hoping when you send them in, we're just doing 2016, that will clear that year, and there will be no more fines and penalties for 2016. And then we'll move on to the next year. Now here is the problem that she is having and we are going to have. I told you before, you cannot get online and see what we have paid at the federal level. But you can make a request that will gather, you get 16 quarters worth of filings that we have done. She has tried that, and she is an agent for the IRS, and the backlog is such that she can't get what she needs. Now, you did this, Mary Sue, by phone, and you waited them out. You waited a full hour, right, to speak to somebody. So I'm going by the information that you received, which I also sent to her. And so that's how we're deciding where the problems lie, and that's how we're going to go at this. So you'll be receiving stuff from her shortly, and you don't have to pay any money. It'll say what she paid. Just sign it, send it in. Now, we won't get feedback for a while. There will be the problem. You will send it in, but we won't know if it's proper or if it's not. And I don't know how long we're going to have to wait. We may just have to wait till the next year to see if the fines keep rolling in, unless this backlog that she referred to lightens up, and COVID made all this stuff worse. So anyway, somehow we have to figure out if the stuff we send in does the trick or not. So I viewed that as on the one hand, it was bad news that they didn't take her advice to begin with, and I don't understand why. And she was very irritated. She said, Paul, they never gave me any feedback. Nobody told her anything. She's doing all this hard work, sending stuff in. She didn't know if they responded, what they did with it, and sometimes they did nothing with it. Sometimes it appears to me that they sent their own stuff in, and I don't understand that. If I don't know what I'm doing, but you do, I'm going to listen to what you tell me. It doesn't appear that it worked that way here. So those are the updates that I have there. I don't think I forgot anything on that, even though there's a lot. Go ahead, Jerry.
Just a question. I hear what you're saying, and I understand that she had a power of attorney
But she
prior to
could-
the one
yes,
that you did.
But she can't, even with that only gives her, the power of attorney gives her the ability to access the IRS and inquire into our taxes. This is private stuff. You know, it's like what Donald Trump, they want to look at his taxes. He says, no, you can't see them. So she needed a power of attorney and also Representative Thompson needed the same thing in order to discuss our taxes with the IRS. I had to give him permission, but that did not give her permission to sign her name because Mary Sue is the treasurer, so she's the one that has to sign to pay for these, to file the quarterly reports and pay for this. Now, I'm a little confused at some point how this is going to work with Rich Strong since he's our accountant. Will we make him the treasurer? I don't know, and I have to ask him that because I do know he paid the stuff that needed to be paid for the second quarter of this year, with the exception of unemployment compensation, our portion. But
And,
that's what
and
the
did
power
the treasurer sign for that?
the treasurer can sign these. She's the one that has been signing the quarterly reports that are to be filed. That are to be filed. That's why Catherine would send the quarterlies here. Here's I should get one of those. She put it in red. She sent an envelope. And everything. All you had to do was sign the stuff, put the stuff in the envelope, and put it in the mail. That's it. And she does a really good job, you know, with her highlighters and everything. Most of you have seen some of that, right? As we've been looking through stuff, you've seen
My
it.
accountant does the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean, all we had to do was sign the documents and mail them in. That's it.
Some of them weren't even open.
Some were not even opened
No.
that we found here.
Priority envelopes that weren't even open.
Thank you for answering the question.
Yeah, so. All right, that takes us down to right to know law requests. How are we going to deal with this? You make most of the right to know law requests, so we want to read them here at these meetings because there's usually a lot of them.
One is on extension right now.
Has a date on it though.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
I put a date on it when we'll meet.
I think it's the 18th.
I don't remember.
On the calendar.
Do you want to say anything, report on what he's requesting?
Well, this time it was a lot, like 5 things, and each one has a lot within that thing. That's why I asked for the extension. Because it's going to take a while to do all that.
Can anyone give us an example of, tell us what you're asking for? I haven't seen them.
Since I couldn't get to QuickBooks, and you said they're not legible or not good
Yeah.
enough, I wanted to see the bank statements. And I don't think that's a hard thing to do. That's pretty easy to do.
That was just one of many.
All right.
I mean, you should have a list of them in one folder, you know, that I could go and look at them.
You should, yeah. A normal person would.
Not here. It doesn't work that way here. It will
Trust me, we've been up
eventually.
here many nights going through everything. We're
Yeah.
still organizing
Thank you.
folders, and I know she's been doing like, you know,
My goal is to,
you see all these papers. I
Get
mean,
files
boxes we're still
done up.
going through.
where you can pick a file out alphabetically, hopefully, because they weren't, and say, you know, if I want the bylaws, you go to the bylaws one. And you don't find personnel in with
Right,
it
you
or
find that
something.
it's not what it says on the folder. The man hours that we put into just organizing things, first we organized everything just according to year. This isn't done. You still see piles here that isn't done yet. And we keep finding stuff. Then we had to go back and take some of those years and organize them by month. And we're going to do that tonight. We have to look at, and I should brought this out for visual aids on the problems that we have here in getting information for this bond claim that we're making. Initially, we went through a whole year, took everything that we had late fees on it or cancellation notices. It was this big. And so as a practical matter, I said, we can't do this. So we've limited our search to only these fines and penalties and interest from the IRS and checks that were not deposited. Those are the only two things we're looking at. Now, we routinely found cancellation notice, electric bills, all kind of bills, late notices. We're not even looking at that anymore. It's too hard. It's just plain too hard. There's a point of diminishing returns. So I'm going over the big stuff, just these fines, $12,000 a year, checks that we would find $8,000, $9,000, $1,000, sometimes some were more than $1,000 that never ever were deposited.
Well, she's never here.
So, but I don't know, some were never open, some were open, some were stamped for deposit, never made it to the bank. So I'm going to try to give them to make this claim to get money back on these bonds, from the bonds, the fidelity bond, to pay for these checks that some we cashed, some we were able to call and they'd write new ones or say put it through. We got one from the Treasury, was it $1,200? The last time we mentioned the same very check that you found, it was over a year. You remember it? You were here when we found it. Was it $1,200 or $1,600?
I think it was like
$1,600.
Yep.
That we can't cash now because there's a year's time frame on that. So you're going to call the IRS and say, give us a new check.
All the checks were different. Some were 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120, 180. Each company or entity was different, you know. So I had to call everybody.
But is it, I don't know, is it that thick just with documents from the IRS and checks? And we have to deal with that tonight, make copies of that crap to get it to. There's two different bond agents here, and then some of these checks go back farther than what the bond does. So I don't know, do we have to contact the people that had the bond, that would be Dubler Insurance, for previous years? And in 2018, I thought they had the wrong bond. I think you were here then where I said it was a surety bond instead of a fidelity bond.
Yeah.
Since then I learned some surety bonds are also fidelity bonds. So I don't know what those bonds were, but
That's what we've been doing after meetings or just going through
That's-
papers. Just organizing. Wednesday nights is,
that's
we have
what we
this
do
table
on
filled up.
Wednesday. And,
we
and
just go through each one so we can get a new folder for it and just start.
But how
found
many
them
of these
properly.
meetings have I asked you to stay? After these Monday meetings, we routinely stay, and then we're back here usually on Wednesday
Wednesdays.
until we're all sick of looking at this crap. You're just absolutely sick of it. So hopefully, though, it seems like there is, I mean, this stuff will come to an end. We will get
Eventually.
if we get the tax issue cleared up. All right, I think, does anybody have anything else? Did you want to say anything else about these right-to-know law requests? Did you want to go into any detail, anything?
I don't have my paper. I mean, I should probably make a copy for all the council people when I get a request, and I can do that.
All right. We'll leave
It's
that.
not,
No.
you don't have enough to do.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
problem. It takes her away from doing other things, like she has to call the bank, do the ordinances,
It's not,
bring
it's
the
not like it's 5 or
resolutions
6
up.
people asking for them.
Right, I know. All right. All right.
But one thing I have noticed that we're going to have to watch, and I don't have time to go back on the other ones. You're not, and I talked to Harrisburg about this. There shouldn't be redundant requests. Okay? If you ask to see something
Well,
in January, don't ask to see it again in July, the exact same
no,
thing.
unless it's minutes. He can ask for minutes,
Yeah,
finance
that,
reports,
yeah,
those
to
things.
bring it up to
And
date.
when we
Thank you.
get this stuff, I wish you'd just cut us some slack here. I will do this. Remember in 2018, I included you on our mailing list. I sent you every agenda, every finance report, every minutes, routinely. We just don't have the ability to do that right now. Once we get this, if we ever get our finances in order, I'm embarrassed to say this. Yeah, I mean, I really believe in finance reports, and I have to say here on camera in front of Diane that we do not have a finance report. That's personally very embarrassing for me to say that.
Thank
But I'm
you.
doing the best I can to actually get good numbers here. And hopefully, by the end of this month, he's saying the end of this month, I'm saying October, because I know this place, and I think I'm more realistic. I think we'll have good numbers by October, and I was impressed with all the work that they have done already. I sat with them for a long time, and I think he's doing a really good job. I think when this is all done, we will not only have the best finance report this place has ever had, we will have one of the best finance reports in this county. I know what we need, and he can give me what I want. So we've talked about that. So I'm real pleased with how this will. I know, keep your fingers crossed, but I know I don't even like to be optimistic sometimes.
You have to be. If you can't,
But
if you're not going to be optimistic, you're not going to make it.
Yeah,
Through
I
these
just
months.
think, but in the interim,
He
this
lost
has
it
been
too.
rotten. It's been a really rotten job. I mean, you have to almost be insane to sit here, and then you feel like the place has been operated by the insane. It's like, good Lord.
It was.
It was, yes. All right, enough said on that. We will then have I'm going to go down my last issue here, a special meeting 1 week from today to open paving bids. And have we received any yet? I'm always paranoid that we'll
I
get
know you
none.
are. You're always anxious to get them.
Yes, that's my personality. I have to have them in my grubby little
Let's not
hands before.
put up the mailbox yet until after they come through, right?
Yes, right, because they're right. We can't. I don't want to eliminate. We're not going to eliminate the post office box anytime soon. I just want to transition to that eventually.
And we
That's
actually put a new thing on the door. Walt did. Because
I didn't get to look at
Paul
it.
wants to make
Well-
sure if somebody has something, it goes in there.
Well, here is the problem. Many of these contractors hand deliver that stuff, and we are keeping irregular hours. So they come here. One time Walt happened to be here. They gave it to Walt. Another time I happened to be in here, and some people called, and I made arrangements to meet those people. You know, and one of them said, "Well, don't you have a mail slot in the door?" I said, "No, we don't." And I had to then explain, we're very disorganized right now. We're trying to, move in the right direction. I was afraid to say anything for fear they wouldn't want to do business with us. And I said, we have lots of liquid fuels money, though. We can pay.
Well, the RFPs that you did before, and they already know now that one person, you may not get very many. You may only get one bid.
Why would you say that? I gotta,
Because they heard that you went down through the list and you showed which one was the
yes, and
lowest.
not only did I do that, I emailed every single one of them a copy of every single bid.
So
I took that bidders page, it's the block where they all bid, and I wrote the name of like Hawbaker, I wrote that at the bottom. I sent all of those, and I asked them in advance, and that's what they all wanted. So I want to give them what they want, so they'll want to work with me.
and they worked hard to create that RFP, and then they found out that somebody underbid them, and they may not want to
Oh, no,
that's a lot of
that's
work
how- no, but that's
creating
how
those
it works.
RFPs.
Look, everybody's going to lose but one. That's how it works. So
Yeah.
we all submit
And I
bids.
think
There's
they
only
do that
one
with
winner.
every project they have.
Yeah,
They
they-
have, if they wanted
Yes.
to broke down, I think they did that with no matter who it was. Like they just didn't do it special
Yeah.
for us,
No,
but I
I'm-
think.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not
But no, I feel like
disqualifying
we're
that.
gonna get more.
Oh no, hold it. This is how it works for everybody. We didn't make up the procedure. This comes from PennDOT.
Right.
PennDOT tells us exactly what to do, and that tells them, they all use the same format that
That's right.
PennDOT prescribes for them. And we all follow that same procedure, whether it's Coalport Borough or Becaria Township. It's all the same forms, and there's only one winner. And that's the nature of their business, and they know that. They'd like to win them all.
Yeah. The point
But
I
they
was
don't.
trying to make was, yeah, I know that everybody had the same variables for their RFP, but now they've seen that there other people are bidding so low
Oh,
that they
no.
don't want to even bid because
Some of them bigger companies bid high like that, so they don't want the job.
Well,
That's
they
true,
hope-
that's
they
true.
hope maybe we'll get it. We'll
Yeah.
just throw this in there and
Yeah.
hope we'll get it. But chances are they're going to bid. It's my personality that I need to have it. But
yeah.
the process is what it is, and they live by that every day. It's their job.
Yeah,
That's
I
just how
bid
it
every
works.
day. I bid every day on jobs, and
Well, you know,
some of them
it-
I get, and sometimes
Yeah,
I
well,
don't get.
that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Now that what we have against us, we're late in the season here, and I'm hoping, now in my mind, Hawbaker has an advantage here because they won the first one and their equipment's going to be here already. So I think that might give them an edge, but I don't know that. I'm not in their business. You know, somebody else may say, I wouldn't mind picking that up. I'm on my way back from State College or wherever, and we'll just hit them before we get our equipment back to Brookville or wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to assume anything, but it'll be competitive, and that works for us. I was real pleasantly surprised the last time. It cost us less than what we were planning, and I couldn't be more pleased. Hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised again, but you never know.
Thank you for the privilege to
Oh,
come.
you're welcome, but anyway, we have a special meeting that's been advertised.
No,
It has not, that one will be, so that needs to
That's
be
tomorrow.
advertised. Yeah,
Is that 7 p.m.?
same as always, yeah, Monday at 7 p.m.
That's the 9th, right?
Yes,
Monday. Good night.
yes. Yes, just make sure that one gets
yeah,
advertised.
do it tomorrow.
I don't have anything else. Anybody else have any comments on any of this or
Yeah, I got
anything
another
missed?
question.
Go ahead.
I haven't brought this up for quite a while, but I haven't heard anything report on these abandoned buildings, these blank buildings. Has that been put up on way up on the top shelf or what?
No, you gave us the last update on
Last thing I heard about something about the Adams building was supposed to be brought down. How's that?
It's just, it takes a while, it's paperwork.
There's
I hear that all the
nothing-
time.
Nothing new, right?
Well, so whatever I tell you, you're not gonna believe me anyhow, I take it.
You don't have to believe everything I say either.
I'm
That's
just
not the
very
point.
thankful.
That's not what the point
Well,
is.
Maybe he
here's
needs to
how
maybe
it
he needs to
is.
get involved in the process, and then he'd know how it works.
Well, here's where we're at on that particular building. It comes from the Redevelopment Authority, whose Lisa Kovalik runs that authority. She has a limited amount of money. She has to buy the property, search the title. There's a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes that she has to do. But she has basically told you, if I understand this, that is the top building on her list.
Yes.
Is that right?
And it has been handed into the commissioners, so, you know, she can do so much and then she's pretty persistent.
And it always comes down to money. None of these things are cheap. Now, if we can get a little creative, you laugh? It's
No,
true.
go ahead,
I'm just saying, it always comes down to money. Who pays? You know, is it going to be us? Is it going to be the Redevelopment Authority? Is it going to be the state? Nobody wants to give up their money to do this. So it just, we don't have the money.
I'm just saying, I haven't heard nothing said about it for such a long
Yeah.
time. I didn't know if you
No,
quit
it's
searching
legal.
on it or what.
Patty,
2 meetings ago?
Patty
You don't-
McDonald.
I just hope no one gets killed, is what I'm wondering.
well, Patty almost had a close one there with some bricks the other day, but Patty's been, her and Lisa have been talking, so it's, you know, she knows that it's,
Yeah, I thought I mentioned it too
Yeah,
a couple
2 meetings
meetings
ago.
ago.
yeah,
That's,
they
that's
told
what I
Lisa
thought.
right away.
I
Not while
tried.
I was here, I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried to
I
bring
brought it
those
up and,
things up.
the last I heard was about the Adams building.
Yeah, nothing. We have nothing
but
new
I haven't
on
heard-
that.
That's the only thing I heard, that was approved for that. I know it's a long process.
Yeah, and I have.
And this is like, yeah, we're gonna do this right now and do it. No, it's not like that. I
Right.
know that. I'm very aware of that. But not hearing the reports for a long period of time, gonna make people thinking.
Again, I think I didn't bring that up 2 meetings ago. I thought you kind of validated that. I didn't want to say anything
Right.
because I wasn't sure. But it's fine to ask, and I try to follow up on things as best we can.
This has been more important things, really. You know,
Yeah, we
finances
do
and-
get hit by a lot. Now, the other one I'll give you, I've contacted DEP on the one up by my house, because you have the tires, which are a mosquito breeding ground, and 1,000 baby diapers, which are hazardous material.
If you walked into Shirley's lately,
Through what? Shirley's? Yeah, I saw that and I recommended we put a dumpster in front of it. I know mine up
there's
there.
nothing there except garbage.
Yes, I know, and I'm saying that becomes a hazardous site, but even with DEP, they will not just finance the thing. First thing they do, and I'm all right with this, they go to the owners and try to get the owners or the people who created the problem to fix it. But those people are usually judgment proof. They have no money and they're not going to do it. And you know, I said, what are you going to do? Put a lien on my house, or is DEP
Well, yeah, I
going to
realize
fine them? So
That's probably
I mean,
exactly what they'll do.
All I'll do is now I'll eventually give DEP a call again, for example, on this, and we'll see where they're at and give them an update. And maybe with some of this COVID money, we'll try to think outside the box. You know, how can we get rid of some of this stuff? But our budget situation most certainly does not permit it. We're barely keeping the lights on here, so the money is not there.
I understand the borough right now, the financials in a real tough spot. Okay, I do understand that. But I'm going by, I'm reading the papers all the time. This city they're gonna blank money for this, they got blank money for this city, this borough.
We applied.
I don't see nothing about us.
No, well, we applied for some.
We gotta get the finances in order.
Well, some things we
Books in
actually,
order.
we weren't eligible to apply for certain things because our audits, for example, we have 2 audits that have not yet been completed. Until they're completed, we're not eligible for state funding based on that. What's that?
Because a lot of times you can match your state
Yes.
with federal money, and we can't do either.
And then there was, we kind of played a little creative here. So before I was on the board, we actually applied for a grant through GIDA. They were and they submitted an application. What's that woman's name? Mary Tatum. Yes.
Yeah, has anybody heard anything about
Yeah, they
that?
were denied. And that was expected on my part. That was so competitive. It was just, you see, I mean, the state said, here we have $2 million. I believe the number was 2. None of that was going to come here, ever. That was going to go to Philadelphia, Harrisburg, someplace else. So we're at a competitive disadvantage, for one, in getting that type of money, but we have tried.
But don't
We
ever,
really have tried.
never say never, because we didn't.
Well,
think
I'm not saying never.
We didn't get the second. In case here's one, Rick. We did get a second facade grant, and that was for $50,000. We had one 6 years ago.
Here's the problem in all this. These problems were allowed to be created. This took 30 years to have this happen. You should enforce your ordinances when these problems are small and never allow it to get to the point where it is. And I'm going to use an example. I'll use an example that I know about. You know the house up by me, the one that's left? That was, Marge lived there. That was a nice, well-maintained home when she died. So after she died, the taxes were never paid. Now, the borough was somewhat at fault, but the county also was. So the way it works, so it goes up for tax sale after 2 years. Nobody would buy it because the liens on the property were more than the value of the house. So then the next step is supposed to be a judicial sale where the liens are wiped clean. That never happened. So what would have made a good starter home or a rental property is now a blighted property. That is a liability. Nobody in their right mind would buy it because now you would have to pay to tear it down. That shouldn't have happened. That was a failure of government at various levels. And all these blighted buildings are the same. The ordinances should have been enforced when you had a little problem rather than waiting. And we have the ordinances. We actually do, but we have not enforced our ordinances over the last 30 years, as near as I can tell. And this is what you get. And then you have a council like this, and we can't fix it overnight. We can't. We're lucky to keep this place going. We're managing to stay off of the distressed municipality list. And I mentioned at the last meeting, at the end of this year, we're going to be down to a $20,000 cushion. When you only have $20,000, you are then in the danger zone because you get big bills here, like you'll get workers' comp for the fire company, which will be $9,000 or $10,000. So you can start bouncing checks. So if we mess up, there's no longer a margin for error. If we don't have our act together next year, this place won't be paying the bills. There will be trouble. There's no longer, the savings is gone. It's gone because we ran deficit year after year after year, and the people in charge didn't even know that was happening. So that's how we get to where we're at. And there's no easy fix. You can't get out of this very easily.
I think you guys are in a tough spot.
Oh, it's a real tough spot.
Like I said before, I haven't. If you have mentioned about the blight buildings and I missed it, I apologize. I haven't heard
to
it.
apologize.
We haven't for a
The
while.
only thing I've heard since you all took over was about the admin building. That's all. That one meeting you mentioned about the admin that you got approved that it's going to be, once it's finished, paperwork done with it, it's going to be torn down. That's all I've heard.
That's probably
No,
about
I
all
haven't heard
there
about-
is.
What, if anything else has been
No,
submitted,
no.
or nothing for any other
Yeah.
buildings, you know,
No, there
that
has
was my
been,
only concern.
no, there has been nothing else. Now,
She's really
who
pushing
knows,
them to get
you know,
them
Biden
done.
is spending a lot of money.
I don't
and
wanna hear about
hopefully-
Biden.
Well, what I'm telling you,
Or
I don't
Trump.
either, but it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is if they spend a lot of money at the federal level and we can make ourselves eligible for some of that money, like we did manage to get this COVID money and we worked really hard to get that. Fortunately, we got a total of $51,000, but it's very restricted. You can't use it to tear down these blighted buildings, for example. But I'm hoping there will be other infrastructure money, who knows, and if we can get some of that money, who knows? Maybe we can tear something down, but it's,
Block grant money?
who knows, yeah.
But you have to go every December?
Yes,
and
now
apply for
again, we are not eligible, now the fiscal year just ended right now, and we're into a new fiscal year.
That's
But
federal?
at this moment, until our audits for 2019 and 20 are done, we're not eligible. So we
I'm
have
sorry.
to get those audits done before we're eligible for anything.
One more question and you might blow up on this one. I know you did state it in the council. Was ever a letter sent to Waterways and Engineering that you were breaching the contract, you're not gonna do the flood control? Or is
They
it,
were all notified.
or is
They
it
put it
just
on, what they did,
suspended?
it's suspended. That was, their solution was to suspend that.
Well, that's good because breaching that contract, you had to pay almost
Yeah, obviously we didn't, right, I knew all of that,
$125,000 back.
right.
The
Well, I took
county,
care of all
they-
that.
they
That's
took-
all done.
It's done.
That's closed. There'll be no
Is it
more money.
closed?
Well, it's, they call it suspension, which they'll suspend it indefinitely, because then the county also had to pay money back. So nobody had to pay anything back. Everybody should be really happy because I got a white elephant off of their back.
Thank
Both
you.
the county and this borough. We were in something we couldn't afford. That would have gone on forever and ever. It just sucks money out of the borough.
Yeah. Thank you for answering the question.
Yes.
The price of it.
That's why our roads, to me, that was misappropriated money. Our streets are crumbling, turning to dirt over the last 30 years. And you've got to ask yourself, why? If you think about this, the tax base was broader 30 years ago than it is now. And all you have to do, I'm going to use my own neighborhood. There were 6 houses on Oak Street. There was now 1 paying taxes. There was now 1. And so you lost all that revenue. So 30 years ago, they had more revenue than we have now. And they had lower bills because bills are always lower in the past. You know, they just keep increasing. And the other place where you lose money is on the earned income tax. Say if I lived here, I'm a high wage earner while I work. Now that I'm retired, you get zero. And pay that 1% earned income tax. So as the population, as these guys get older and they retire, Rich, you retired?
Mm-hmm.
So when you worked, you probably made a good wage. They took 1%. Now you don't work. I don't work. Then that money is lost. So the borough's income just keeps getting smaller and smaller, and the bills go higher and higher, and at some point it will not be sustainable. And then people should ask, do we get our money's worth here? Now, just think of this. Our tax millage is the second highest in the county, 28 mills. The township is right beside us, one of the lowest in the county at 4 mills. Now, to put that in real practical terms, the assessed value of all the real estate in Coalport is $2 million. 2 million times 28 mills means that we are taking $56,000 from our taxpayers, from a population of less than 500. Every single year, they're paying $56,000. If we were part of the township, it would only be $8,000. 4 mills times 2, $8,000. What are we getting for that extra $48,000? What do we get that the township doesn't get? You know, people should ask, is this worth it? And if you just have a borough and it does nothing but keep the doors open, but doesn't do anything on infrastructure, is it worth it? Now, my personal feeling is that these little boroughs like this should not be allowed to exist. That the legislature should say when the population falls below a certain point, you are forced to merge. The Beccaria Township won't touch us. They won't take us. They say it's a liability. It isn't a liability. That's wrong. Everybody will say that. They would get approximately $85,000. And all our run rate is about 135, 140,000. Take that $48,000 out, that takes you somewhere to around $85,000. That's not a liability. And then there's all kind of synergies that would take place. For example, we have 2 bookkeepers, you could only use 1. We have 2 staffs, you could only use 1. We're heating and maintaining 2 buildings where you could only use 1. So both municipalities would be better off if they merged. But that will not happen. It will not happen. Beccaria will not allow that. If you think of this, if you're a township supervisor, there's some job security involved. You know you can be elected in the township, but if you throw another 500 people in the pot, what if we choose to elect our own supervisor? Somebody's out of a job, so they have a reason to oppose those things. And you see it all over. You see it happened in Du Bois. Who were they trying to merge with?
Sandy.
Yes, yeah, and they're finally putting that on the ballot. You see it over and over and over. My feeling is the legislature should say these small boroughs should not be allowed to exist. It's a waste of money, it's stupid, and this is what you get. There's a lot of little communities that are just like Coalport. Sorry for my rant.
Yeah, please don't mince any words, Paul. Just
No,
say
I won't. So anyway, now my rant is over. Sorry.
Don't you think they would create us a ward if we were taken over by a township?
You just become part of the township, and then your tax millage
But we
drops.
have all these roads and the maintenance.
No, not all these. Just think of this. Coalport is 1/3 of 1 square mile. It's really tiny. You have approximately, they'd get, I don't know, between 3 and 5 miles of streets that they would have to maintain. A lot of them they do already. They come down Schrock Road and just keep going, or down Haggerty Road. So you don't have that much more. And again, you're getting $85,000 or $90,000. Then everybody. Here's something else. Just think, if you wanted to start a business, if you would start and build a new building, where would you build? Would you build in Coalport where you're paying 28 mils, or would you build in the township? Like Northwest Savings Bank, they're across the line for the reason that's a very expensive building, and you have access to a large population right around here. So if you wanted to revive Coalport, merge with the township, lower the millage to 4%, we have infrastructure that nobody else has. Nobody else, we have parking. We're on a main street. Route 53 goes right here. You have a large population right around us. If the millage were 4 mils, you could then have Northwest Savings Bank right in the borough. You could maybe some of these restaurants, Dollar General, maybe it would be here instead of in Flinton. Then everybody would benefit, because Coalport was once an economic hub for a reason. If you revived that, then you were going to generate more tax dollars for the whole municipality, for then the big township. You'd get more money. So you could actually make this area prosper if we merged, as opposed to staying alone. We can't prosper like this, and neither can they. It's holding back everything.
Then the biggest business in town is tax exempt, right? The medical center.
Yes, they're tax exempt.
Actually,
They're a
yeah.
draw. But just think, that's actually a plus for the community. If you reduce the tax to 4 mils, that's an incentive to open a business right around there, because people come to that medical center for a lot of things. So we have positives that nobody else has, and you can't use them. They're locked in right now. It's just a shame. And the only way to make this prosper is to merge with the township, have the same low tax rate, and I think then Coalport would have a chance of prospering by virtue of its infrastructure and its location. I think that's how you revive this area, to convince other people of that.
Possibly, we had a resolution for that, what was it? I can't think of it. We had a speaker come here, and I think it would cost us $3,500. And they would do a study of the whole town.
Well, they had a marketing survey. They already, Streetscape had one.
You got that?
Yes.
Yeah. We
But
got a
nobody
grant
looked
to get
at it
done.
like I just
Did it?
did.
Yeah.
Nobody looked at it the way I just did. I looked at it differently, and I think what I said will actually work if it were given a chance to work. The people of Coalport would have a real quick benefit. Their taxes, instead of losing $56,000, they'd only pay $8,000. And then Beccaria Township has an economics. They also gain. They get $85,000, and you can increase the population of the area. Just increase your tax revenue by doing that.
Your
My infomercial
infomercial is on
on
here,
here, yeah, I
and
know
the
it is.
people will see that.
Yeah. Sorry for my rant.
No, that was good.
No, I don't know, but
It's
Does
an
any-
opinion.
yeah,
That's an
this
opinion.
is why I wanted to get something started. And I mention that to every congressman that I talk to, by the way. So I'm a one-person movement at this point. I'm trying to convince others.
Thank you.
Anyway, does anyone have any comments, opinions? Say, Paul, you're full of shit. Sorry, whatever. Anything? We need to pay those bills, right? I always forget it. Do you have something first? Before
No, just that I did, make up a thing for them and try to start putting them in the basket there for you.
I saw
For
them.
you.
I need a motion to pay the bills. I say we don't pay the bills anymore, but I'll take a motion to pay them. Go ahead.
I mentioned that.
Make
Pay
a
the
motion to pay. Do I have a second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
No opposed? Anything else?
I just want to say I had a resident say something to me about people who are walking their dogs to pick up after them
Yeah.
because they're letting them go right on
Right.
the sidewalks and on the
Wherever, right.
roads and everything else.
We have an ordinance for that, by the way.
Yeah, just
We just got to we
Get
have to get
enforced.
somebody to a code enforcement officer, and Calvin won't do it. I tried to get Calvin to be the code enforcement officer. He
And
said,
that thing we belong with Moshannon Valley Cog, that, we would have to pay,
it doesn't help us. We have our own ordinances. We need
Yeah.
to enforce our own. Yes. So that just I would forget all about COG entirely. Focus on our own ordinances. We have the hard work done. Enforcement's really easy. You just need somebody. Calvin had the right personality and temperament to do that. You just need somebody who's not mean, who will actually do the job as a
Yeah.
volunteer.
You have to have an ordinance for a COG too.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we have reasonably good ordinances. They're not bad. They're really not. But we don't enforce any of them. Ben, we haven't enforced any ordinances forever, as near as I can tell.
The mayor can't force it.
No, well, we can appoint a code enforcement officer to help her, but she does have the authority, and that'll filter down to the code enforcement officer. We can do those things. But right now, I mean, that's the least of our concerns. We can barely, these finances have to be our priority. They just have to be. And that drains me. I don't have energy for anything else or time. I'm pretty well worn out. And these guys, I'm wearing them out as well.
we don't get quite as uptight as you do.
Probably not. I broke my teeth, grinding my teeth at night.
See what it's done to me?
Yeah. I take it too personally. I know that I do. That's just who I am.
I think everybody does here, they
I
would
know
they
they
would
do.
know.
I know. I know.
be on the
Oh,
council.
here's something else I want to say. This is the first board where nobody is here to promote their own self-interest. That's the first time it's been like this in 30 years that I'm aware of. There was always people here that had their own interests that they were interested in promoting. So I think we have a really good board. I think we have a really competent board. These two they'll be on the ballot. They're quick studies. I just think this is the best board we've had in a long time. I'm pleased. Anyway, I couldn't ask to work for a better group of people.
Are you gonna?
Yes, I'll volunteer. Yep.
Work?
You know, if you worked on a corporate board, you wouldn't work as hard. You'd do between 6
You
and 12
actually can
meetings a
get
year.
paid.
Well, you get paid $75,000 or $100,000. If you were on the board for the savings bank, last I knew, they paid about $75,000. I think they had 12 meetings. Maybe you do a few committee meetings. And we work far harder than they do. Far harder, believe me. We get nothing.
So who'd we write a letter to about that?
Well, where's the money going to come from? We're entitled to be paid, but if we took any money, then the place would go under.
Okay.
All right, I've been all wound up tonight. You'll ask for my resignation.
Well, we paid, okay, you just have the motion to adjourn then?
I think, unless anybody has anything else, you don't want to do a rant tonight, Sean? I'm
I'm
gonna
good.
pass. Wise man, closed mouth catches no feet, huh?
What's that?
I said a closed mouth catches no feet. I should have learned that by now. Yeah. Do I have a motion to adjourn? No?
Make that
Okay.
motion.
Motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.